Hello, fiber friends. Today we are talking about patterns to knit for spring. So if that sounds like it will be of interest to you, I hope you'll stick around. Hello, knitting friends. Welcome or welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Kristen, and today we are going to be talking about 12 fun patterns to knit for spring that you should start now so that you can actually wear them in spring. Spring is not here yet. However, I am excited to report that for the last week, the high has been above freezing every day here in Maryland. I know winter is not over, but it has given me hope that someday winter will be over. So we already had a big snowstorm, and what we actually got was about 8 inches, at least here, of snow, and then an inch of sleet and freezing rain on top of that. And then for a week at least, the temperature didn't get out of the 20s. So what we have outside is actually not snow, but what people are calling snowcrete, which is basically giant blocks of ice. Can't play in it. You can't really sled in it. It's not great, but it is now melting, and that is very exciting. So as I said, this has given me hope that winter is eventually going to come to an end. So it also got me started thinking about spring knitting patterns. As I said, if you want to wear spring knitting patterns in spring, you need to start them now. So today I am sharing 12 fun patterns for spring, and I've got a little pattern drop for you at the end. All right, so when I say patterns for spring, all of these patterns are designed for wool or wool blend yarn, and none of them are like very airy or lacy or anything like that. So we are still firmly in the cool weather camp. We're not moving into plant-based fibers, silks and cottons just yet. We're not moving into lacy, open weave, summer stuff. We're still firmly in the spring, but these are all pieces that have short sleeves or maybe sleeveless. And in the early part of spring, when it's still pretty chilly, you might layer these under something. And then as it warms up, you'll be able to wear them on their own until it gets too hot for wool. So I have created a bundle in my Ravelry favorites as usual, which is linked in the description box. I'm going to be sharing 12 patterns today, but I think there are like 15 or 16 in there that are all super cute and appropriate for spring. So before we get started today, what I'm wearing is my Snowy Forest pullover. It's a pattern by Midori Hirose that I knit in Fiber for the People yarn. I don't think she carries these bases anymore. It was like a floofy yarn held with an alpaca blend sport weight that I don't think she carries anymore. And the color I believe is called Endor. All right, let's jump into our spring 2020 knitting pattern recommendations. So some of these are newer, some of them are older, and there's not really any particular order here. So the first pattern I want to highlight that I think would be lovely for spring, again, maybe as an underlayer to begin with, and then on its own as the weather warms up, is the French Kiss top. This is a pattern by Anka Strick. We don't have a real name for her. So the recommended yarns for this are United by Queensland Cotton, which is the main color, and that is a sport weight, and then Midnight Soul by Camarose, which is a lace weight. So it looks like the color yarn is sort of a floofy lace weight, and then the main color is a more solid sport weight yarn. So you've got a alternating color pattern, but you also have alternating texture, which I really like. So this pattern includes 9 sizes, and it fits busts from 34.25 up to 59 inches. That's the finished bust circumference, and the recommended ease is 3.5 inches. So I think with the wool cotton blend and then the kind of lace weight mixed together, you're going to get a very airy, a nice light piece, but you're still going to have a lot of warmth coming from the wool, coming from the alpaca. This is really adorable. There are 44 projects here on Ravelry, so you can take a peek at that. But I am a sucker for a good kind of checkered pattern, and I really love this one. So again, that one is the French Kiss top that is available on Ravelry for €690 or about $8.57. Next up, I have a project that I knit. In fact, I test knit this several years ago, and that is the mid-season sweater from Karina Spencer. So this pattern includes a short sleeve and a long sleeve option. So the one that I knit was this short sleeve one, and I love it. And then of course this is the pattern sample, which you can see has longer sleeves. So this is available on Ravelry for $10. This is knit in a fingering weight yarn. Just kidding. This is knit in a sport weight yarn, but she does say heavier fingering weight will also work well. So most sock yarns will also work well in this. And I believe I knit mine in Magpie Fibers Swanky sock, and that worked just lovely. So the pattern includes crop length with cap sleeves, crop length with 3/4 sleeves, and then hip length with both of those sleeve styles. The pattern includes sizes from extra small to 6X to fit bust circumferences of 30 to 66 inches with 8 to 16 inches of positive ease. So you've got, this is definitely going to be will work nicely as a layering piece earlier, especially if you knit the short sleeve. You can layer it over maybe a base layer that has longer sleeves, and then as you move into warmer weather, maybe have a camisole or something underneath. The lace work on the top is going to require you probably to have some kind of underlayer under there. But I love this one. It is one of my favorite knits. This is such a nice piece. It is a very well written pattern, lots of thoughtful details. And one thing that is especially nice, it says the pattern includes a mini gauge swatch pattern to make it easy for you to check all sweater body gauges in one swatch. So it does have lots of different stitch patterns, and you want to, check your gauge for all of them, but she gives you the pattern kind of all put together in one swatch so you don't end up having to knit multiple swatches. So again, this is one of my favorite knits. This was published a few years ago, so back in April 2022. But it is lovely, and I still think very, very stylish, despite changing styles and colors as we move through the season. So again, that one is the mid-season sweater from Karina Spencer. All right, the next pattern I want to share for spring is the Adventitious. This is a pattern by Olga Pitano Designs. This has been in my queue forever. And the reason I've never made it is because it is knit in a lace weight yarn, and I don't have any lace weight yarn in my stash, and I just never kind of think to buy it. So the yarn called for in this pattern is the Baby Yak lace from Mosaic, but I'm sure there are plenty of other lovely lace weight yarns. I know the Mosaic yarn tends to be a little pricey. So this was originally published in Alina magazine in September 2022, but now you can grab it on Ravelry. It is $8.50. Just love this. It looks like so drapey and comfortable. And she says that the stitch pattern is easy to memorize. I love the whole look of this, but especially if you're using yak, but really any lace weight wool, it's still going to give you nice warmth in the spring season. So the pattern includes 12 sizes. Recommended ease is 8 to 12 inches, and the finished bust circumference goes from 37 up to, wow, 79 3/4. So this is going to cover pretty much all of the sizes, I think. So it is knit from the bottom up, and it is knit in the round. I know bottom up is not everybody's favorite. It's fine, generally speaking, for me. The only thing I really don't like to do is bottom up raglans. It is a drop shoulder. So basically, probably you're knitting in the round from the bottom up to the armholes. You're going to split for the front and the back, and then eventually pick up the sleeves, I'm assuming, after you seam the shoulder. So a pretty straightforward construction. It's very boxy, probably not a lot of shaping. It doesn't really give you a list of like techniques or anything, but as I said, given that it's kind of a very boxy, drapey shape, there's probably not a whole lot of advanced stuff going on with this pattern, and it looks lovely for spring. So again, that is Adventitious by Olga Pitano Designs. All right, next up is one I have been seeing on all of the podcasts, so I had to check it out, and I think this would make a great layering piece basically all year round, and that is the Palm Springs tank. This is a pattern by Leslie Forrester. It is available on Ravelry for $9.99 US. And yeah, it's just kind of an, a tank top, an easy to layer camisole. You can wear it on its own. You could wear it under other sweaters, cardigans. The recommended yarn is a wool. So, unlike other sort of sleeveless tops that are more for the summer, this one is definitely going to be appropriate for the cool weather of the spring. So, the pattern includes, oh my goodness, 3, 6, 9, 11 sizes from extra small up to a 7XL. The finished bust circumference goes from 23 to 64 inches. The recommended ease is obviously negative with those measurements. So it's a 6 inches negative ease recommended so that you get a close fitting tank top that you can be wearing under other things. So the yarn used in the sample is Dusty Yarn Co. Luke's Silk Cashmerino, which is a merino cashmere nylon in a, in a fingering weight. And basically this is all done in stockinette, but it has very nice folded trim around the armholes and neckline, which just gives it a really neat, tidy finish and makes it, just a step above your simple basic tank top. So it says high neck, high back, classic tank top with double folded stockinette neckband, armhole edges, and hem. And it says the details were inspired by my favorite classic department store tank tops. So great layering piece. Probably not going to get you into summer, but that is not what we are talking about today. We are talking about spring, and a very nice, soft, merino cashmere tank top for spring is an excellent choice. So again, Palm Springs Tank by Leslie Forrester. This next one looks nice and drapey and comfortable for the spring. That is the Zephyr Tee by Samantha Guerin. All right, this one is designed for a light fingering or fingering weight yarn. The pattern includes 10 sizes with a finished bust circumference from 31 3/4 up to 68 3/4. And we have a recommended ease, 4 to 8 inches of positive ease. So Zephyr Tee is a drop shoulder sweater worked from the top down. Back of the shoulder first, left and right front, etc., etc. 2 neckband variations, folded or flat, are included. And neckband options and sleeve cuffs are worked in a 3x1 rib, and it's also finished with a 3x1 rib with a split hem. So it just looks so breezy. I think one of her samples is knit in a yarn that Ravelry actually says is a lace weight. Looks soft and delicate and drapey and breezy for spring, but you've still got plenty of wool in there to keep you warm. So both of her recommended yarns are wool or wool blend. So one is Fua Fua by Moondrake Company, which is cashmere goat and merino. And then the other one is Grace Light, also by Moondrake Company, which is 80% merino, 20% cashmere goat. And that's probably also giving it some halo and floof. So as I said, this just looks so comfy for spring. I really love this. She has it in this bright pink color that is, it's not really my style, but it just looks so bright and happy, like warm weather is coming. So again, that one is the Zephyr Tee by Samantha Guerin. This next one is one I stumbled upon by chance looking for some spring patterns that I have not seen this anywhere before. I've not heard of this designer, but this is the Hope Top. This is a pattern by Gudrun Fessel, and this was published a couple years ago, back in July 2024, and I just love the trim on this. So the recommended yarn is a light fingering merino silk Ramie blend. So again, we're still sticking with our wool blend, but we've got a more open neckline and sleeveless. So this again, layer under and then transition into actually wearing on its own. So it is a loose fitting V-neck top worked in stockinette stitch, and the armhole and necklines feature an integrated cable, and it is worked from the top down. So for the top down fans, you are in luck. The pattern includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sizes. with recommended ease of 0 to 4 inches. The finished chest bust circumferences are in centimeters, so I don't really know. Pattern is available in English and German, so I'm going to guess that this is a German designer. You can grab the pattern for €584 or about $7.26. Okay, so she's recommending two different yarns. So Pinta by Pasquale, which I had already talked about that blend, and then Uno Winicunca, also by Pasquale, which is again a fingering, but this one is a cotton alpaca blend. So either way, you're still getting warmth from those animal fibers, but you've got this nice drapey, comfy camisole with a really nice finish with the cables along the armholes and neckline. So again, I can't say that I'm familiar with this designer, but I really love the style of this. There are 151 projects on here, so you can look through and see, different yarns and different versions, and maybe find some feedback on the pattern itself. But it seems to be very popular, as the average rating from people who have used it is 4.8 stars. So again, that one on Ravelry, the Hope Top. All right, next pattern in our list of spring patterns is one I'm definitely going to mispronounce because the name is in Finnish, and that is the Raunioset sweater by Suvi or Wallback Wool. Now, this one, she's recommending yarns that are both wool blend or plant fibers, so maybe it could go either way. If you opt for the wool blend, then this is definitely going to be a nice option for spring. You can grab this pattern on Ravelry for €6 or $7.45. And it includes 9 sizes. And this one, you've got a lot of stockinette and then just some nice details around the yoke to kind of keep you interested. Again, the finished bust circumferences are given in centimeters, so I can't really speak to how they fit in, imperial measurements, but bust circumference 81 to 86 centimeters up to 145 to 150 centimeters is the recommended bust circumferences. So as I said, she is recommending different options. It says a cotton or a cotton wool yarn and DK weight. And there's also a long sleeve version, but I definitely think for spring we would go with the short sleeve version. So let's see. It is started with a provisional cast on and knit top down in the round. The neck is finished with an I cord. Back of the neck has short rows, and then it has fern cables. And it looks like it is a circular yoke finished up with some raglan increases to create a better fit. So we've been seeing this more in sweaters lately, is starting with the circular yoke shaping and then finishing with raglan shaping, which just, gives you the ultimate bust circumference you need without a lot of extra fabric here that you don't need. And it says the pattern is video supported. It says the pattern is video supported in English, so hopefully the videos are in English as well. I really like this for as I said, something that starts with some cables, something to hold your interest, and then in the end, you can just finish it up with some simple stockinette, easy to knit in the round. So again, that is the Raunioset sweater by Suvi. Another tee, if you are a fan of stripes, is the Gramercy tee from Tori Yu. This is available on Ravelry for $9. And it says it is a stylishly striped V-neck top-down saddle shoulder construction, which I love, thoughtful short row shaping, and your choice of 2 sleeve options, sport or fingering weight yarn. So her recommended yarns, presumably from her sample, is the Sunday Morning Luke's Sport from Sonder Yarn Co., which is a BFL Masham Goat blend, but the gauge is 24 stitches over 4 inches, so 6 stitches to the inch. If you want a breezy, a little bit more of an open weave fabric, is still going to work for your fingering weight yarn. So the pattern includes 9 sizes with finished bust circumference from 34 up to 66 inches, and the recommended ease is 4 to 6. I still haven't tried any of Tori Yu's patterns. I have several of them in my queue. This one looks really cute. I am not a super big stripes person, but I do kind of like the darker version with the lighter stripes on this one. It just looks very comfortable with that nice V-neck for spring. Maybe that's going to be added to my queue as well. That one is the Gramercy Tee by Tori Yu. All right, next up we have another tee, but this one is a little bit lacy. It's a little bit open work, but we're still working with a nice warm cashmere goat, but some kind of warm animal fiber, and that is the Gabriella Tee by Dorothy of Fessier. You can grab this on Ravelry for €9.50 or $11.80. I believe she also has a kids version. And it says it is a beautiful knit with lace details, worked top down in the round. And while the sleeves are lacy, you have the option of continuing a little bit of lace on the body or working the whole thing in stockinette, depending on how, kind of breezy and airy you want this one to be. The pattern includes from extra small to 5XL with a finished bust circumference between 34.25 and 67 inches and a recommended positive ease of 4 to 4.5 inches. So as I said, the recommended yarn is cashmere lace by Gepard Garn, which is a 100% cashmere goat, which is held double, or other recommended yarn is merino fingering from Olivia and Oliver Fibers, which is a 100% merino. I think she has another one here. One strand of cotton wool from Gepard Garn, which it doesn't say the details of, but cotton wool sounds like a cotton wool. So I like having these sort of lacy sleeves. Again, if it's earlier in the year and still cold, you're going to wear something over that, and then it's going to give you a little bit more breathing room as the weather warms up. I don't know if I would continue the lace on the body or not. It's interesting to have that option. So again, this one looks very comfortable. If you enjoy twinning with your little ones, there's a junior version. It looks like a relatively simple to memorize lace pattern for the sleeves. And overall, a very nice, airy, drapey piece for the spring, but still plenty warm with some animal fiber in there. So again, that one is the Gabriella Tee. Next up, this one is actually a sleeveless top. This was published a few years ago, back in June 2022. But okay, we got a lot of goat happening in these patterns. So recommended yarns here are cashmere goat in a DK weight, and a cashmere goat in a DK weight, even without sleeves, is going to be plenty warm. So this is the twist loop top by, as you might imagine, Other Loops. You can get this on Ravelry for 50 Danish kroner or $8.32. It says the top is worked from top to bottom in ribbing with that nice cabled rib down the front. Armholes are finished with an I-cord edge, and the pattern includes 6 sizes. Recommended negative ease of 7 to 15 centimeters, whatever that is. We know 10 centimeters is 4 inches, so somewhere on either side of 4 inches. So it's not super clear here what is going on with the yarn. So when you look where the information at the top where it says yarn weight, it says fingering, and then all of the yarns recommended are a different weight: a DK, a sport, and a worsted. So I don't know. It's a little bit all over the place in terms of what yarn is recommended and what yarn is used. The recommended needle size is a 3 millimeter with a gauge of 32 stitches over 4 inches. So your guess is as good as mine on the gauge and the yarn recommendations here. But there are 853 projects, so presumably you can go through those and see what kind of yarns people used for this. The pattern is available in a number of languages: English, Danish, French, German, Italian, Norwegian, and Swedish. I love this one. It looks like it's got a double folded collar. As I said, an I-cord finish around the armholes. It looks comfortable and casual. Just, kind of a basic rib tank with a little bit of something interesting going on in the front. So again, that one is the twist loop top by Other Loops. If you are looking for something bold and colorful for spring, this one is going to be right up your alley. This is the Sundial Tee by Wool and Pine. All kinds of color going on here, and it uses scraps. So this is going to be a great use for leftover yarn. So this pattern uses fingering weight yarn. We've all got those little bits of leftover sock yarn. You can grab it on Ravelry for $8.75. And let's see, you only need around 6 to 13 grams of fingering weight yarn per color per stripe. So ideal for scraps, minis, hand spun, or tiny leftovers. Approximate per stripe yardage by size. And then they give you the grams for each size for each stripe. So Sundial Tee is a stash-friendly top with mosaic knit stripes and clean tailored finishing. Worked flat from the top down with short row and neckline shaping. So it is all knits and no purls, but presumably there's going to be some seaming if we're working flat. It says flat knit shaping and clean seams give a beautiful silhouette. But the neckline and the sleeves are picked up and worked in the round. So you do get a little bit of in the round trim to finish everything off. So wool and pine, their patterns are very thorough. They've got lots of details here. They've got multiple samples. So you can see how, they're using this mosaic design with lots of different colors. And there are 100 projects of this one on Ravelry, so you can check those out as well. So I know people have lots of feelings about seaming, whatever those may be. If you like bold colors and you don't mind a bit of seaming and you are interested in something for your scraps, this one is going to be a great choice. So the sizing is, it says you should choose a size with 8 to 13 inches of positive ease. And the bust circumference goes from 34 up to 75 inches. I have not done a lot of mosaic knitting, but this one really looks like a lot of fun, and I would love a good project that uses up all those little bits of sock yarn. So again, that one is the Sundial Tee. And last but not least, a good basic is always nice for spring, really any time of year. And so I present to you the Knitty Committee top. This is a pattern by Lily Kate France. You can get it on Ravelry for $7.50 Great British pounds or $10.72. It is a fine gauge wardrobe staple slim fitting top. It is written for 2 different lengths, includes waist shaping and optional bust darts. But those bust darts are definitely going to come in handy for people who are a bit more well endowed. And again, this is just a really nice staple tee with some very nice details. So the yarn, fingering weight. She's got samples shown in several different yarns, and we've got long sleeve, short sleeve, and puff sleeve. The pattern includes 9 sizes to fit finished bust circumferences from 28 up to 62 inches. The actual finished bust measurements of the pattern are from 30 up to 61.5 inches. It also says it includes 2 different increase options for the pattern, whether you want your increases to be like more decorative or just kind of blend in a little bit more. And also 2 edging options, a simple or a detailed rib. This is a really nice basic wardrobe staple. Definitely knit at a fine gauge. So the gauge is 26 stitches over 4 inches. And you're going to be using pretty small. So this is not one of the case where you're using a fingering weight yarn, but you're getting an airier fabric. You are going to be using smaller yarns and getting a more fine gauge fabric with your fingering weight yarn. Yeah, so you're using a 1.5 and a 2.5 US needle size. The pattern description doesn't say much about the construction, but the tags indicate that this one is worked from the top down, and it has, it looks like seamless set-in sleeves. So if you want a nice basic that is going to be a perfect, easy fit, easy to layer, easy to match with everything in your wardrobe, for the spring, definitely the Knitty Committee top by Lily Kate France is going to be a lovely choice. And there are 192 of these on Ravelry, so you can see all of the different versions with the different sleeves and finishings and all of that. So that is our last pattern for today, Knitty Committee top. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed taking a peek at 12 fun patterns for your spring knitting needs. And I just want to finish up by doing a little pattern drop of my own, a little Valentine's Day treat, if you will. So today I'm releasing the Latido sock pattern. These are a standard cuff down sock with a fun cable pattern all along. It looks pretty simple. Just when you're kind of getting bored, I add in an extra cable swoop here just to keep you on your toes. These are knit with a half handkerchief heel. You can substitute in any old heel that you like. Pattern includes 5 sizes, so 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, and 9-inch foot circumference. Bear in mind, you should be wearing your socks with 10% negative ease. So these are the size medium, 8-inch circumference. I knit these in Magpie Fibers Quartet fingering, which is a 100% merino wool. Was that really probably my best idea? No, there's no nylon in these, so that's maybe not a great idea. But this is a heavier fingering weight yarn, so usually I will knit my socks on a US 1.5. I had to go up to a 2 for this, so the fabric was a little bit denser. I will say this pattern really opens up a lot when you block it. So the cables are kind of in a sort of pseudo rib, and that really opens up with blocking. Pattern is both charted and written. Like I said, pretty easy to memorize. I just throw an extra cable cross in there every once in a while to keep you on your toes. But overall, you're going to be able to knit these without having to stop and look at the chart too much. So you just need to grab some sock yarn from your stash. Probably nothing too variegated, more of a solid or a lightly tonal yarn. This is my favorite color from Magpie Fibers, which is Wicked Game. She has lots of beautiful colors, but I always seem to gravitate back toward this one. I don't know why. So if you are looking to do a little Valentine's Day cast on as a treat to yourself, please use this coupon code here to grab this pattern for only $4, only for the next 72 hours. So this video is dropping Saturday morning. That means you've got all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and all day Monday, and then the deal is gone. So again, that is my new Latido sock pattern now available for you. Happy Valentine's Day. All right, friends, and that is everything I have got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. If you found it entertaining or useful, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. New knitting videos here every Saturday. If you're looking for me on social media, you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Media Peruana. And I will see you soon in another video.